So on Friday, Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters released a quality album again. And on Sunday, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl again. I will say one thing for both of those guys. They are incredibly consistent. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Music Room. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, click the bell, maybe leave a comment, leave a nasty comment, leave a good comment. Any kind of comment's good, because much like Tom Brady, I really don't care what you think of me. The big difference between me and Tom Brady is he's Tom Brady, and I'm a loser in a basement who sometimes does record reviews and other times plays drums a little bit. And I gotta say, watching him completely dismantle the Chiefs last night does not make me feel any better about the outcome of the NFC Championship game. They were ripe for a beatdown. But alas, you're not here to listen to me whine about football. You're here to watch my review of this album right here. And I gotta say, man, I did not go into this album with very high expectations. From the 3 singles I have heard, none of them were really grabbing me. When I picked the album up on Friday, put it on a turntable, and listened to it the first time through, perhaps my judgment was a little clouded on what I was expecting this album to be, and I didn't like it. And Saturday, I listened to it a second time because I know sometimes Foo Fighters have a tendency to grow on you. This album was no exception. Saturday, I listened to it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? There's some good stuff on here. Sunday, I listened to it again, and yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is all right. And then this morning, I listened to it one more time just to kind of wrap my head around all these songs. I will say, this is a good album. It's not a great album. It's not as good as some of their past work. If I think Color and the Shape is probably their masterpiece. It's probably their best album. This is nowhere near that. I would say that this is not as good as their last release, Concrete and Gold. I don't think it's as good as Wasting Light. I think this is probably more on par with like the Saint Cecilia EP. I would give it a 3 out of 5, and that's a low 3 out of 5. Very bottom of 3. I don't understand the lead track on this album, Making a Fire. I don't understand why they haven't released this as a single. This should have been the first single off the album. It has a huge, massive chorus. And that's a thing about the Foo Fighters is, if we go back to football, Tom Brady's a quarterback for people that don't necessarily like football. I think the Foo Fighters are a rock band for people that don't necessarily like rock music, and I'm not going to bag on them at all for that. I think that's great. I think anything we can do as rock fans, we need to embrace bands like Foo Fighters who cross over and draw people into rock, because maybe it'll get people into buying some other kinds of rock. A big part of that crossover is these massive hooks that Dave Grohl writes, which brings me to track 2, which is Shame Shame, the lead single off this album. I don't like this song. I haven't liked it since the first time I heard it, but it has a massive hook. It gets stuck in your head. You can't get it out. That is an incredible skill unto itself, and if it was easy, all rock bands would do it, but it's not easy. Next track, Cloud Spotter, one of the top 3 tracks on this album. Killer song. Has this cool, lo-fi sound of the drums, which I love. You can hear the tape hiss in it. I really love that. And massive hooky chorus and a killer middle 8 bridge section that's just freaking rocks. Track 4, Waiting on a War, the second single from this album. Once again, with songs like Making a Fire out there. I don't know why they released this. I think this is Dave's attempt at writing some more meaningful lyrics, I guess, and it makes it sound like growing up in the Cold War was an absolutely terrifying experience, like you were waiting for nuclear war to break out at any time. I was a kid around the same time. I don't know. I don't remember being scared. It's not a bad song. It's not a great song. It's just kind of, it's kind of there. Track 5 is the title track, Medicine at Midnight. And here's the thing about this song. The opening little riff thingamabobber really sounds a lot like Abracadabra. I half expected Steve Miller to start singing. I don't want to say it's a direct ripoff, but man, it's freaking close to Abracadabra. Like, Steve Miller might have some sort of case there. Good hooky chorus. Probably one of the stronger songs on the album as far as chorus goes. Next track would be the third single from this album, No Son of Mine. Of the 3 songs they released as singles, this is probably my favorite. It's got a cool feel to it. What you think is one isn't necessarily one on the intro. It kind of goes into a punk rock feel with a big, kind of meaty chorus. Decent song. As far as the album goes, it's upper middle of the pack range. Next track, Holding Poison. This is one of the gems on this album. It really harkens back to earlier, better Foo Fighters work. It sounds to me like it could have been on Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace, which I really dig that album. And this song really reminds me of that era of Foo. This has that vibe to it, the chorus and the sonic quality of it. Chasing Birds is the obligatory slow song. Second time through, it kind of grew on me. It's a decent song. You know, it's well crafted like Dave does everything. He crafts everything really well. Last song is Love Dies Young. Finish out the album with a big, huge chorus. Once again, decent song. Overall, I would say if you're one of those people that can live without the physical media, I would pass this up. I would maybe listen to it on Spotify or iTunes or whatever. Maybe just stream it. Maybe just buy the MP3 download. The vinyl itself, the quality of the pressing isn't bad. It's pretty good. It's mastered a little hot like stuff is nowadays in sections. I think Medicine at Midnight suffers a little bit. I think it's just pushing that needle a little too much into the red. But the album itself does sound decent. There's not a lot of surface noise on it. It's a clean pressing. If you don't need the physical media, I say skip it. Don't buy it. Save your money and just stream the album online. Once again, Dave Grohl, they put out such consistently decent work that even their bad stuff was still pretty good. People say Let It Be is the worst Beatles album. Well, if I think most bands would be happy writing an album as good as Let It Be. I think most bands would be happy writing an album as good as this, even though it's not up to the standard of some of the earlier stuff. It is a decent album. Take my opinion for what it's worth. I'd say skip the physical media and just stream the album, though. Not bad. All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. And screw Tom Brady.